Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Building HVAC Science Podcast. It's our goal to create better, more knowledgeable HVAC and building performance pros. We think we can do that by helping these two worlds better understand each other, not just in theory, not just the tools, but how buildings and HVAC systems actually work together in the real world. And what a better place to do this than the HVAC School Symposium, the topic of this episode that you will listen to, hopefully, in just a moment. Some of the great quotes from this episode. What you put into this, you get out of this in multiples. Also, it's not about sales. It's about learning relationships and leaving your ego at the door. Well, it was outside, so maybe at the tent flap. Using AI responsibly, but keep the humans involved. The humans are what keep it honest. In this episode, Elk, myself, we're joined by Billy, Ginny, and Josh, some of the team from TruTech, and they recap their trip and our trip to the 7th Annual HVACR Training Symposium. Josh and Ginny share their first-time impressions, going from booth setups to instant attendee engagement and a surprisingly family-friendly outdoor vibe. We also dig into the memorable moments in the crowd magnets, the Grit Foundation Dunk Tank fundraiser that Elk and I participated in. Also, Jim Bergman's memorable talk on using AI responsibly in conjunction with real-world measurements. And some hands-on favorites like the Shaco fin straightener demo that Elk brought down with them and a lot of people got to try. Also, Retrotech's air tracer and the continued interest in specialized tools like the TruFlow grid and torque screwdrivers. Billy was surprised by a renewed interest in combustion analyzers and why the industry seems to cycle back to them. To close it out, everyone gets a chance to answer the question of why the symposium matters in person or virtually. And the consistent theme is relationships, peer learning, and a network that lasts long after the event. And I capped it off with a challenge. What you put into this community, you get back in multiples. And it can genuinely be career-changing. So I hope you enjoy this upcoming episode, the Woodstock of HVAC, why this symposium hits different with the TruTech team.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Building HVAC Science Podcast. Eric Kaiser over here. The great, the one, the only, Bill Spohn, right over there. And we got some special guests in here today, 3 of them, from right here in TruTech Tools. We have our new president, Mr. Billy Spohn, our new marketing manager, Ms. Ginny Hebert, and our sales manager, Josh Crawley, in here today. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So what are we here to talk about?
So we are here to talk today. We just all got back from a trip down to sunny Florida. It was rather warm while we were there. And we were at the 7th Annual HVACR Training Symposium put on by HVAC School and Kalos out of Claremont, Florida. And they had it over at the Bill Breeze Park in Ocoee and headed outside. It was a great time. And I think we've got 2 people here with us, Josh and Ginny, who they were first timers to the event this year. So, Bill, you want to guide us around and ask some questions?
Sure. One thing I do want to say, you did say HVACR school in Kalos because Kalos pretty much had to shut down for all the work that their team did. They had people walking around with T-shirts that said event staff, and I recognized them. They're actually Kalos employees. They had trucks there. They had equipment there. They were doing great work, just keeping everything flowing. It's really a commitment that Brian makes for his company to do this. It's just a very unusual thing. Brian's a very unusual person. I'll go first to Josh. When you walked on site, what did you think?
We walked on site. It was about 6:30 in the morning, so I was tired. But one thing that I noticed was that just fast forward to about 7 o'clock, we were still setting up our booth by flashlight, I'll mention. And I counted like 20 people immediately that walked up to the booth that wanted to start interacting with us. And Eric, I think you had the Shaco fin straightener fired up by about 7:20. There was live demos going right away out of the gate, which tells me that people, they're not there for the salesy side of things. People were there to genuinely check us out, see what we had that was new. And then the vibe that I got was just a very spiritual vibe, all the way from first seeing the lake and then walking into the vendor area, which, by the way, I want to mention, I don't know if fun fact about that lake, but did you guys know that that was Florida's most polluted lake back in like 1980?
No.
Yeah, there was a lot of runoff from local farm fields had just basically infected that lake. And post 1980, the government got involved, and it was one of the biggest cleanup efforts that they had ever done. And you see it now. It's beautiful. It was really nice to see first thing in the morning. It's Sunset Lake for sure. Actually, Sunrise Lake. But anyway, it's just a very nice vibe that early in the morning. It was really impressive to see people interacting with us immediately.
I'm curious, how did you find out that that was one of the most polluted lakes? Did you read a sign nearby, or was that just something you innately knew?
I looked it up because I was trying to find out more about where we were. And I was reflecting on some of the pictures that I had taken of the venue, the trees and the lake and just the property itself. And I felt guilty taking those pictures when we had family at home that were dealing with 0-degree temperatures. But I set some home for inspiration and then just got curious about Lake Apopka. I think that's how you say it. And its history, and found out that it has a pretty ugly past.
Wow.
They certainly did a nice job cleaning it up because it looks great now. And there were a lot of people in there with boats, and looks like they were fishing and stuff out there too. So
Wildlife, yeah, plenty of wildlife.
Yeah,
you'd never know it.
Ginny, your first impressions?
It was cold. It was cold in the morning, but then it warmed up. I really liked that it was outside. It felt very family oriented because there were kids and dogs running around, and the customers that were there were just really interactive, which was really nice because I never got bored. There was always someone to talk to or something to do, and I really liked it.
Cool. And I know you walked away with an impression about something you'd like to get.
A blower door?
No, a little furry thing.
Oh, a dog. Chica.
Yeah.
I want a Chica.
The toy Australian Shepherd, right?
Yeah.
Chica is one of a kind.
Yeah.
She has her own fan club.
Yes, that she does. And for those of you who don't know Chica, Chica belongs to Ty and Perla Brannaman. And if you haven't followed Ty Brannaman on social media, he is a great and phenomenal HVAC educator.
Got to listen to Ty rap. He's great.
Yeah, he imploded a few barrels while we were there.
Yeah, that was impressive. Some videos on Facebook, I think, of that, maybe even LinkedIn.
Probably. I'll bet you there's some on Instagram too.
Yeah, I posted some. I was really amazed. The first one they did, where they heated the 55-gallon drum and then cooled it really fast. I didn't know you could do that. That was pretty wild.
Josh is already thinking party tricks for the next birthday party for his kids.
Oh, yeah. Kiddie pool, 55-gallon drum, and I know somebody that has a vacuum pump.
Yeah.
He's trying to figure out how to do that on a robot.
Maybe.
Go to Billy. What are your, not first impressions, Gumming, but first impressions this year?
Yeah, just another great year. We were title sponsors, which was it's an honor to be a title sponsor of this event. It's kind of the Woodstock of HVAC, and you get a lot of good people together. And like I said in our opening remarks, these people get to be there. None of them have to be there. They all, at least I think, most of them chose to be here and weren't sent and demanded by upper management at their company to be there. They all wanted to be around other people who want to learn and just share their experiences. And I got a lot of good conversations with a lot of technicians and attendees there. And then also the vendors, the other sponsors there, they all get what HVAC school is trying to do and what Brian is spearheading there. So it's nice that we have other corporations that are on board with what we like to do. And what we like to say is, maybe not like to say, but what we say is our ideal customer. And sometimes we notice sales are lower whenever the symposium is going on because our ideal customer is not in front of a computer buying stuff. So
that's funny. So in front of a computer, but customers can also buy from us in a new way. What's that all about?
The app.
Ginny? The app.
Bill and I donned our marketing attire and jumped up on stage and didn't say anything until there was an awkward silence, but we are launching an app. It's a soft launch for now. We're fixing a few bugs, making it really nice for customers to use. And just in general, in my opinion, you don't go to Amazon.com anymore to buy something. You go to their app. I buy a lot of stuff from Chewy.com. I don't go to Chewy.com anymore. I go to the Chewy app.
Speaking of AirTags, I'll just segue to, we never seem to lose a tool at these events. The people that come are very respectful. So we never have to go looking for things. We don't have to AirTag anything, do we?
That's a good point. The people there are very nice, very respectful, like Bill said. Bill's told me stories about having tools stolen from our booth at other events a long time ago. And I haven't experienced that in my 10 plus years at TruTech. So keep it up, people. Just keep being nice people, I guess.
Keep up the non-theft.
But if I can go back to the app, really, we're starting off with just replicating our website and putting it in an app format such that you can just shop in the normal way that you would on our website. But it's a little faster, a little sleeker than a website that has to load a bunch of stuff all the time. And then in the future, near future, we will be adding some more cool things to it that I think our customers will enjoy.
I think that's the most exciting part is that we're going to continuously improve that. We talk about new ideas all the time, and it's going to be neat to see some of those rolled out in the future.
Yeah, and apps were new in like 2010 maybe, and it's 2026 and we're just launching our app. But I also feel like we didn't miss the boat. We didn't miss the wave or anything. I think we're actually launching at a good time when the app industry is matured. People buying from apps is matured. Not everybody's just saying like, oh, I don't want that app or anything. It's second nature to them now.
Well, they definitely wanted our app. I watched you guys up on stage, and when you guys made the big announcement, you never seen so many people pull their phones out of their pocket at the same time.
Oh, really? You had a nice perspective on that one.
It was pretty cool. I just looked around the room like, wow, okay, they're all downloading right now.
There went bandwidth in that neighborhood.
So, Elk, I wanted to ask you about a display that you personally brought with you from the inventor of a product. You set it up, and then you let Tim DeStasio loose on it.
It wasn't Tim. It was the birds.
It was a bird. To understand that reference, you're going to have to get on social media and find Tim DeStasio's video when it comes out. I'm sure that video is going to come out at some point in the near future, if it hasn't already by the time this airs. We took on a new product last fall called Shaco, and it's a device that goes on an oscillating multi-tool. And I'm just going to say this, it has to be on a triggered multi-tool, something with a trigger on it, not an on-off switch, because that's been a point of contention with a few people when they come up and see it. And there's reasons for that when you get to use it. And it's pretty apparent once you start using it what that trigger does, because you can modulate the speed much faster. But the device is designed to help with straightening fins on damaged coils, things that have had hail damage on them. Maybe they've been rubbed up against, maybe somebody's taken a pressure washer to them, something like that. So we brought a display down and let people play with that and experiment with it and see what it can do. I was quite impressed with some of the damage we were able to fix. But yeah, Tim hit our coil with a hammer so hard that he actually bent the tubes inside the coil back. And it took me a little bit of work even after he left, but was able to straighten up those fins much better than I ever expected we could. So you can check those out on the website. But that was a pretty cool thing to be able to really get to play with a lot, see what damage people could do, and see what could be fixed.
You were busy almost the whole time with that too, Eric. It was very popular.
Yeah, it was very popular. There are a couple things that you got to pay attention to on using it, but once you get it figured out, man, it just works good.
I say it was visible, it was interesting, and it was noisy. It attracted attention. Running that multi-tool.
It was noisy on that multi-tool.
And you got to think people are so used to straightening fins one way that there's a new way to do it. Or it's just more, maybe not a new way, but it's just something totally different than they've ever seen.
It's definitely a different approach because for years we've used plastic tools, we've used some metal tools, but the really damaged fins, you would literally, as a technician, have to sit there for hours with a pocket screwdriver pulling up one fin at a time to try to fix something and get it working again. And I've done that. And it just takes time and patience. And the Shaco's having 4 or 5 little pocket screwdrivers on an oscillating tool, so you can zip down that coil really fast and pull that stuff up.
And keep the blood in your body.
No donations needed.
Yeah, that's for sure. I didn't see anybody get any injury while we were doing that all weekend, or, well, for 2 days.
So, Jenny, you spent a lot of time at the bake sale table. I mean, the book sale table. What was that all about? Because it looked like a bake sale.
I would have been honored to run a bake sale table or a book sale table, just for clarification, but I would have eaten all the food. So we were selling Craig Migliaccio's books at our table. Craig was also there, and it was super cool. Got to meet a lot of people who liked Craig and us. So just got to interact with a lot of the customers and I learned a lot about our internal systems too.
It's always a learning experience. Huh?
Yeah.
So just go around. I've got people in order on my screen. The most popular thing that you saw people attracted to, Eric?
The dunk tank?
Okay. Tell us, what was that? It's not a tool that's used for like evacuation or dehydration or anything like that, is it?
Definitely not.
It's just for hydration.
It could be rehydration.
Yes. Yeah.
But the Grit Foundation, which was founded by Brian Orr and Rashir Shah, Brian Orr of HVAC School and then Rashir Shah of SkillCat, started the Grit Foundation as a nonprofit to really go around, put on camps, and get younger people interested in the trades. And Brian's wife, Leilani, is the executive over there. Ty works for them, doing a lot of their camps. And they set up a dunk tank. And I think you were in that, Bill. There was a lot of people in that. They had it for about an hour and a half every day around lunchtime. And you could go donate money to the Grit Camp or Grit Foundation to help support those camps and get so many throws depending on how much you wanted to donate and dunk whoever was in the tank. And that was a lot of fun. And I got told, it was a Thursday or Friday event, and I got told Thursday night that I was going to be in the dunk tank on Friday by Brian. So I had to show up Friday with some swimming attire to be able to go in the dunk tank.
Looked like you had fun there.
Yeah.
I tried. You just got to go out and have some fun.
Yep. Josh, most popular thing?
For me, the most popular thing was the presentation day 2. Jim Bergman was back. I had somebody come up to me at one point and say, "Do you have a seat in there?" And I said, for the first presentation, he says, "Yeah, it's going to be standing room only. You might want to get a seat." So it was nice to see Jim back and doing what he loves. He's definitely in his element when he's up there. And he gave a presentation on using AI responsibly, not to use it as a sole tool for your job, but to use it in conjunction with actual measurements. And then the other thing that he pointed out was, even though AI is helping people, you still have to get the humans involved. The humans are what keep it honest. And so I thought his presentation was really good. And then I had a revelation when I was in there. He talked about around 2007 when he was teaching. He really started questioning the science of the measurements and not just taking a measurement, but what does the measurement mean? What should it be? And name dropped you, Bill, and that he was calling you a lot when you were over at Testo. But it made me realize in TruTech's early days, our tagline was making measurement science work. And I always knew that, but I never really knew where that came from. So hearing him talk about that, that was a big aha moment for me. I walked out of there with a big smile. I'm like, okay, now I know.
Very cool. Jenny, what do you think was the most popular, either for yourself or for the attendees?
For the attendees, because I was at the booth most of the time, people kept picking up the smoke, the air tracer, I believe it's called.
Yep.
And the smoke just stays around for a while. People are really fascinated with it. And then the second thing, I know you only asked for one, but probably the TruFlow grid, because people kept asking questions about that, which I think is super cool. So
nice. And I'd say that our air tracer spent more time in the hands of one individual than anyone else. Who wants to speak towards that?
Atlee.
Yes.
That's 2 years in a row.
Yeah, it is.
Shout out to Atlee.
Yeah, who can describe Atlee? Who is Atlee?
He's a
14-year-old prodigy. Sorry, Josh.
That's okay.
No, we said the same thing.
Yeah.
Bill, you probably know Atlee better than any of us. You've talked to him the most, I think, over the time.
Yeah. So the first year, he was sitting in the front row of Chris Stevens' presentation with his mom. And I was sitting behind him, and I just saw him so focused on what Chris was talking about. Or maybe it was the other way around. He was sitting behind me. I was sitting in front of him. And at one point, I turned around as the class was ended and introduced myself as like, what's this young person doing here? And his mom explained why he was here. Actually, somebody at like a local big box store who knew of the event, he was there buying something to fix his mom's air conditioner. And the person said, you should go to this event, like 2 days later. And they called and they got in. Brian and the team let him in. And Chris had just finished his presentation. I introduced myself and I go, how come you're here? He goes, oh, I've been following Chris. I've seen all his videos. And I'm like, oh, you got to meet him. So I introduced him to Chris, and man, they just like Velcroed together. And that was it. That was his first year 2 years ago. He came again last year and came again this year. Biggest difference was his height.
He's getting tall.
youth at that age are growing quickly. But he's also actually in a college program now for a dual major in HVAC and electrical. So he's 14 years old in a college program and knows a tremendous amount about the industry. So just like a shining light there. But I'm not going to discount the fact that someone else had mentioned a lot of kids, like Brian's family, literally his family were there. His kids, his youngest, I'm not sure all of them came, but he had probably 7 out of 10 kids there. Someone said there's a bouquet of orchids around. And I said, wow, look at all of them. They're running around their parents like kids in orbit. Ty, if you're listening, hopefully you'll appreciate that one. But they did a great thing. They ran the snack table. That was awesome. Again, free snacks, free breakfast, free lunch. And I don't want to make people feel like too jealous that they couldn't come. You can still get access to the content. Go to HVACRschool.com. Go to the events, 7th Symposium. You can buy an all-access ticket for $29 and get access to every recorded presentation, which I believe is every presentation was recorded. It's been uploaded and you get access for like the rest of the year to see what happened there. So it's a tremendous thing. You can still gain from this, even if you didn't attend.
Yeah, I think actually, Bill, I counted 8 of Brian and Leilani's kids.
8 of them were there. Okay.
I think I'm right on that.
And they all got good senses of humor. They interact well with adults. I mean, they're pretty cute kids.
Yeah, they're all of them awesome kids. I mean, he's got 3 of them now working the business with him.
Yep. Billy, getting around to you. Biggest, most interesting thing that happened for you or for others?
Things that haven't been already said, I would just say, looking at the table and what was most talked about at our booth, hand tools. Man, I had always thought that hand tools were just something you buy at Home Depot and Lowe's and just lived with until you destroyed the
grip on them or something.
The business end of it with trying to dig something out. But the torque screwdriver, or correct me if I'm wrong, but torque screwdriver from Weehaw.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a lot of people were like, I don't care about torque, forget it. But it is important and it does keep problems at bay, I'd say, if you tighten something down to the torque spec that it should be.
There have been a surprising number of people actually having very positive results with that once they get it in their hands.
Yeah. So you're helping yourself by taking that extra step to do that work and helping your customer at the end of the day and saving you from a potential callback for something that's not tightened down correctly.
Literally every electrical connection actually has a torque spec. Most of them are published on the breaker or the contactor or whatever. If it's a screw terminal, it's got a torque spec on it.
Like the panel even has a torque spec.
Oh yeah, all the panels have torque specs on them. And it's actually getting written into a lot of codes now that stuff needs to be torqued down. I was actually reading a code the other day that has it written in there. So it's something that's, I think, going to be more popular and people are starting to figure it out, because I got one a couple years back, and I started playing around with it and I learned just how bad I really was when I thought I was doing pretty good.
And then the other thing I was just most surprised about is, I know we're in Florida and not every attendee is from Florida, but there were a lot of people asking about combustion analyzers, and seems like combustion analyzer mentions at trade shows ebb and flow through the years. Like one year it'll be nobody's really talking about it. Next year, a lot of people are talking about it. So this year was a lot of people talking about it, and we had some good ones on display there. Testo 300, Field Pieces, Cat 45 and 85. Sourman's 030 and 130 models, and then Citron's Novo. I think it's Novo 1, or it's just Novo. But
no, just Novo.
Phil said it was cold.
Combustion analyzers are like a phone for analyzing combustion. So
yeah.
Realistically, they're really just kind of like your electrical meter or your gauges and your temperature probes going on a refrigerant system. They're going to give you data that you can't otherwise see or tell or figure out. I'm glad to see that and glad you noticed that. I think that's a promising thing for the industry.
Other than that,
hey, Bill.
Yeah.
How about you? What was the neatest thing you saw there? Don't say lunch, because everybody went to lunch.
Oh, our lunch was good. Neatest thing I saw there. I will congratulate them on the new layout. The first year at this park, it's probably like a lot of things look good on paper, and then you go like live inside them and go like, oh, that's not right. This year, they accumulated all the booths in the center area of the park, but with enough space to make aisleways so that people could get through, see a lot of things, move around, rather than having to walk along this wide U circuit. That layout was great. I did not get a head count on attendees. Anybody hear a number?
Didn't hear a number, no.
Didn't hear a number. Brian did tell me they did sell out. So whatever that means, they were at capacity for whatever capacity limiting things they do.
I think that's close to 500
Yeah, that would make sense.
in person.
And I guess one thing that stood out to me was the BriX tent. So Brian and his team created this thing like TEDx's, where there were 20-minute presentations with a 10-minute break in between in a whole separate stage area. And it allowed a lot of people to come up and share what they've learned, what they know, what they'd like to communicate. And I think that in conjunction with the fact there were a lot of first-time presenters there really shows that this is a very open and welcoming community overall. And a lot of people, like I said, first-time presenters there. Like, I'll shout out one, Sophie Ashley. I think she did 4 presentations this year.
Yeah, I think so. At least 3 that I know of, but maybe 4.
So it was like her debut kind of thing. And I think she did awesome. The couple that I saw, one I was actually involved with a panel discussion.
She was on a panel last year.
Oh, she was? Okay.
She was on the women's panel last year. Or was that 2 years? Was that 2 years ago?
Yes, it was 2 years ago because it was at the Kalos parking lot.
Yeah.
Which is one other note, that's where everything's grown from, is the Kalos Services parking lot in Claremont. Just a small little area. Now it's grown to this big event space. Fantastic.
I will say being on a panel is much different than presenting, though. So you're right. This was her first time really presenting.
All right, let's wrap it up here for our listeners. And going to go around again. I'll go in reverse order. So Billy, you'll be first. And the question is, or the statement is, why is it important to either attend or go to the virtual HVAC school symposium?
I think you attend if you are trying to have peers that you either look up to or are on your same wavelength, and that you can connect with them. Just because you work at an HVAC service business, you're probably only talking to your fellow employees and the odd other company in the area employees at random. So it's a safe space to share your ideas. You're not going to be competed with once you get home, stuff like that. So I think you attend to get a role model or potentially see your role models like Craig Migliaccio. He's 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's more popular than anybody. So
Anybody here at least?
yeah, digitally, I think you attend or you buy a digital ticket just because it's honestly really cheap. And if you put it on your headphones and you listen and while you're mowing the lawn or taking a walk or driving to the next job, you will definitely pick up something, and it's really cheap to learn something from somebody who's been there and done that.
Very nice. Thank you. Ginny.
You attend so that you can ask questions and get answers immediately. That's always how I learn the best, is that one-on-one time. I know I was peppering a lot of people at the booth with questions, whether they were our employees or not. So thank you to everybody. I come from the financial realm, so I don't know a lot about HVAC tools. So whatever I can learn, I'm really grateful. And you buy the online ticket. So if you missed a session, you can catch up. Or if you lost your notes or you want to re-listen to it, you can see it again, which I think is a super cool feature.
Nice. Thank you. Josh, what do you think?
I think that, like someone said, the people that were there didn't have to be there. There was a lot of manufacturers there, some of the top manufacturers, top trainers in the country, and they all show up and they leave their egos at the door. There's no pressure. As I said, it's a spiritual feeling when you're there. It's not about sales. Kudos for the manufacturers being there, because it's such a long-term approach to sales. You're not going home getting a bunch of sales. You're there building relationships with like-minded people. The people that came up to our booth are real users of our tools. They're not tire kickers talking about getting them someday. Half the people that come to the booth have most of the tools that we sell. And then at the classes, it's funny because when you go to like a trade show or a conference, it's sometimes hit or miss on who you get as an instructor. Some classes are good, some classes are okay, some you wish you didn't go in. And going to the symposium, you have these higher level thinkers, but then in order to satisfy them, you have to have classes and courses that are going to feed them as far as their level of interest. So I just think that I'll sum it up this way. I know now why they call it the Woodstock of HVAC. It's such a nice event to be at, and I can't wait to go next year.
Excellent. Eric?
An excellent question, Bill.
He needs more time to think, because that's what it is. He's stalling.
No, I got a lot of good reasons to go, but narrowing that down, that was a challenge. I'm going to say going in person is for the camaraderie and the connections. I can say that I've met people there that I probably never would have met any other way in person. I look at groups that have formed out of this, like the Animal House, which is a core group of people, and then they have a changing group around them that get together in one house every year, and they stay in one house, and they may or may not get much sleep. There's a lot of whiteboarding. There's a lot of computers. There's a lot of tech talk. There's a lot of, hey, I've got this problem. I've got that problem. And I watch a lot of the people that go down there, they make those personal connections, and then weeks, months, years later, they've still got those connections, and they're calling up one of their friends and they're saying, hey, I got this problem. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? And it's developed a network of basically a self-developed network of support for a lot of contractors and like-minded people. But you also go to learn from other people too. And I was happy to see what I thought was a number of new faces there this year. And one of the things I keep in mind at any of these events is that we all stand on the shoulders of the people that came before us. And if we can get on their shoulders, then we can go farther and we can go up more. And buying a virtual ticket is a great way to go in there and get a lot of knowledge that are in those presentations without having to go to Florida in January, which I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to go to warm, sunny Florida in January, but that's your choice, I guess. But definitely go in person if you want to make some awesome, fantastic connections with some of the best people in the business.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. I'm going to wrap it up here with one final thought, bringing all these threads together. What you can put into this, you will get out of this in multiples. And I'm going to make the bold statement to say it could be career changing for you to participate in this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Agree.
And with that, we're going to let everybody back to listening, whatever that next podcast or song is on your app, your phone, whatever. And until next time, you all take care. We appreciate you tuning into this episode of the Building HVAC Science Podcast. If you like what you heard today and not subscribed, just search for Building HVAC Science in your favorite podcast app, or just ask Alexa to play it. You can follow the show on Facebook by searching Building HVAC Science. If you have questions, ideas for future episodes, or topics you want us to tackle, email us at marketing@TruTechTools.com. That's TruTechTools.com. The Building HVAC Science Podcast is a production of TruTech Tools Limited. In full disclosure, I'm a co-owner of TruTech. The opinions expressed on the show are those of my guests, my co-host, or myself, depending on who's speaking. If you're looking for tools or test instruments mentioned in the podcast, you can find many at TruTechTools.com. You can use the offer code HVACBS for a listener discount. Thanks for listening, for supporting, hopefully subscribing to the show. We appreciate you being part of the Building HVAC Science community. Until next time, take care.